Good evening, everybody. It's Michael Schenkel. I'm the chair of ANC 2C, and I'd like to welcome you to our November 9th meeting this evening. With me is Ellie Mitski, my fellow commissioner from 2C02. I'd like to welcome all of you this evening as well. We have a pretty full agenda this evening. Miss Commissioner Nelson, Gigi Nelson from 2C03 will be unable to join us tonight as she is unfortunately on a flight at this point, but we will proceed without her. We have two of three commissioners present, which allows us to have quorum this evening. I would like to quickly review the agenda for this evening for any additions or corrections to the agenda. The agenda that was circulated previously, we have our community announcements. We do have a new person joining our community announcements. Declan Falls, our community outreach specialist from the office of Chairman Mendelson, will be joining us, which is in addition to the announcement. We also have two requests to modify the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. We're also adding the 20th annual Thanksgiving Trot for Hunger, an update from Brett Curtis, who was not able to join us last time due to some technical issues, and Taffer's Tavern and Tom's Watch Bar. Both of these locations are requesting stipulated license in addition to their Class C restaurant license occurring as well. Are there any other additions or corrections to the agenda this evening? If not, I'd like to move that we approve the agenda as modified.
Motion to approve.
Okay, a second. Got it. And all those in favor? So two commissioners present voting this evening on that. Commissioner Miskey, have you had the opportunity to review the October minutes?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or additions to those minutes?
No.
All right. I'd like to move that we move forward and approve the October 2021 minutes as
Seconded.
Awesome. And all those in favor? Awesome. Two of two commissioners voting yes for that. Treasurer's report. Just a quick update from Commissioner Nelson regarding the Treasurer's report. I don't have the actual report to provide this evening, but I would like to discuss the quarter. Whoa, there we go. Did I just stop that? No, there we go. The quarter 4 financial report covering July, August, September of 2021. We started the balance at $56,228.34. We had two district allotments which occurred during that time. They were backlogged a little bit in that process, giving us so those two allotments went in. We did have two purchase of services for preparation of our minutes that occurred. which is 125, 150. I don't know what are 175, 175. Yes, there it is. 175 permitted development, uh, giving us total disbursements of $350 with an ending checking a balance at $59,520.44.
Michael, if I could just interrupt quickly to remind
Please.
everyone to put their microphones on mute. I'm getting some background noise from a few different folks.
Absolutely.
If
Thank
you
you.
want to make
Please.
me a co-host, I think I could actually
Sure.
do
I
some.
will be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Maybe. There we go. There you go. I would like to move that any questions about the Q4 report? Then I'd like to move that we accept the Q4 FY21 financial report.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? 2 of 2 voting in favor of that. So thank you very much. We will now move forward with our community announcements. We are not having a formal presentation from Ward 2's Mayor's Liaison, Joe Florio. He is on honeymoon at this time, and hopefully, I'm just glancing over my Zoom, making positive that he is not on, or we would totally expel him from the room. We'd like to move forward with the Office of Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto, and we have Brian Romanowski joining us this evening. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'll take any pronunciation. Romanowski.
Romanowski, there you go. Got it. Got it.
Yes. Well, it is good to see you all. First of all, I want to introduce another staff member of ours who just started yesterday. Pablo is on. So please give a warm welcome to Pablo. He joined the Constituents Services team, and we are working hard to respond to your correspondence faster, and we are here to serve you. So please do contact us if you need anything. And I will also say congratulations to Joe, who's not here, but yes, he's on his honeymoon. And he got married at the DAR, I think. I don't know if that's 2C or not. No, might be 2. I'm not sure what ANC that is. That's 2F, probably.
Yeah,
or 2A. That might be 2A. Anyway, so good Ward 2 wedding. Anyway, Councilmember Pinto and I had a great time celebrating Diwali at the U.S. Navy Memorial last week. That was a fun event. I'm going to just get into some updates that Joe also combined with mine. We talked before this. So the first round of leaf collection for 2C took place last week. The DPW crews should have been out there in the tree boxes. The second round is going to take place between November 29th and December 3rd. So any leaves that you get between now and then, you can leave at the curb by November 27th. And again, the DPW crews are back out as they have been in previous years. So they do a really good job. I didn't move any of the leaves from my tree and they took them all. So they do good work, especially on the sidewalks. We are also really excited that the 5 to 11-year-olds in the city are now able to get vaccinated. DC Health has been posting on Twitter every day. If you don't follow them, you might want to, with walk-up locations and the availability by number. So they'll say like there's 250 vaccines available here for walk-ups. I know the first few days were especially busy, but it may have slowed down a little bit now. You can find information on the pop-ups and all appointment locations at coronavirus.dc.gov. And then there's a vaccine tab. It's also /vaccine. You can also go to the federal website, which is vaccine.gov. And if anyone is having trouble making an appointment or finding a vaccine, be it for a booster or for a 5 to 11-year-old, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat. I think the Safeway on L Street is one of your closest locations for children. So if you're looking for an appointment for a child, that is one of your best bets. The other hot topic at the moment, of course, is redistricting. Councilmember Silverman chairs the redistricting subcommittee, and she released 3 draft maps last week that were meant to spur discussion, and they have done just that. The council held a citywide hearing last Friday, and I know that Chair Schenkel, you testified, and I believe Howard, you did, other 2C residents maybe. So thank you to everybody that testified. Ward 2, as everybody is probably aware, can grow a little bit and will be changing shapes in some way, shape, or form. And so we're trying to make sure that we keep all of our neighborhoods together. Councilmember Pinto loves every Ward 2 neighbor and neighborhood, doesn't want to lose any, but is welcoming any new neighbors or neighborhoods into Ward 2. We just want to make sure that we keep our existing neighbors. So we will obviously take any feedback that you all have on that. I'll just say that 2 of the 3 discussion maps drew the Ward 2 boundary down 7th Street. So I know that's a little bit different. Some of the maps put the Capitol building in Ward 6. There are a lot of changes, especially to your area. So we do really want you to review those. I'll post the link in the chat to review those maps. And again, these are not final maps, and it's not you're picking 1, 2, or 3. The committee will be taking elements from all of those maps, and the committee, again, is only at-large council members, so Councilmember Pinto is not on it. But then, let me just get, I guess the next steps are that the subcommittee now will mark up the ward redistricting bill. The full council takes the first vote on December 7th, which is then followed by the second and final vote on the ward boundaries only on December 21st. So this is moving along. Councilmember Silverman has said there won't be any delays. She's not expecting any reason to delay this process. It is not too late to have your voice heard. The record closes at 5 p.m. this Friday for written testimony, and you can email written statements by email to redistricting@dccouncil.us, and I'll post that in the chat too when I'm finished speaking. Besides ward boundaries, I'll just say each council member is tasked with creating their own ward level task force to make recommendations about the ANC boundaries. These task forces will work from December to February, when they will then make a recommendation to the council, but the final vote on ANC boundaries is actually not until June. So we have a really long way to go until that. But if you were interested in joining the Ward 2 ANC boundary task force, and it's a little confusing here, you can email Genevieve, our chief of staff. I'll put her email in the chat, so there'll be a lot in the chat. But that is everything I'll say on redistricting for now. Since we last met, Councilmember Pinto introduced the Recovery Act. This is a bill that incentivizes the conversion of office space to residential, hotel, and retail use in the Golden Triangle and downtown bid areas. So I'm sure is of great interest to a lot of you. I will post a link with details of the bill in the chat, but I think last I heard there were 17 million square feet of vacant office space in DC. So we want to make sure that space is filled, but in ways that help our shared goals that are just critical to our future. We have a lot of housing needs and a lot of other needs. So we want to make sure that that office space doesn't sit vacant in our downtown core. I think those are all of my updates, but I'm happy to take questions and glad to be with you all.
Thanks so much, Brian. We appreciate you being here, and welcome, Pablo, to the team for sure. I would like to give a shout out to Howard Marks for also attending the redistricting hearing that happened last week. It was very interesting, and I would actually encourage anybody to weigh in on the maps, as Brian said, had indicated. We dividing Chinatown down from 7th Street, one side being Ward 2, one side being Ward 6, does not make any logical sense in this process. So I'd actually encourage you all to weigh in on that and to provide feedback to the redistricting committee. This is a really challenging process for that committee because no one likes change in a situation, but we are forced to do redistricting every 10 years based on the census data. And every ward has to be within a 5% point of population. So we're rebalancing the population in the district. So it's very, very challenging process. But I encourage you all to provide voice to that council, to the redistricting process. And I see Brian put information in there in the chat related to that. Thank you so much. Council member, I'm upgrading you, Ellie. Commissioner Miskey, do you have any questions for for Brian and Councilmember Pinto's office?
No, thank you for that update.
Awesome, terrific. Are there any questions from the community? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you coming out and being part. All right.
And Michael, I also just wanted to know, if people didn't know, I'm sorry if we went over this, but there's a lot of COVID test yourself walk-up centers you could go to now. There's one right at MLK Library. So you could just, if spread that word. If there's people who are trying to get tested, you could just walk up and get a packet and then drop it back off in a drop-off box. I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought it was super great when I walked by the library and saw those there.
Yep, very, very convenient to have that happen. Absolutely. We would like to move forward and welcome the Office of Chairman Mendelson, Declan Falls, the Community Outreach Specialist, who has joined the office and is coming to do introductions this evening. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Michael and Ellie and all members of the community. So I'm Declan Falls. I just recently, as of about 4 weeks ago, joined Chairman Mendelson's constituent services team. So I'm super excited to be a part of his office. I don't have a ton of specific announcements or statements from the chairman to share tonight. Mostly I wanted to be here to introduce myself and to pass out my contact info. So if there's anything the chairman's office can help with, I am always available. I will drop my email address and my phone number into the chat in 1 minute. The one plug I did want to give is that Chairman Mendelson is going to be hosting a public virtual meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. We call them Meet Up with Mendos. He does them once a month. And they're public meetings on Facebook Live where anyone from the district can submit questions ahead of time or join the chat on Facebook and ask questions there or give messages there. And we don't edit any out. He will sit for an hour and respond to every single question that we get. So if you have any questions about the council or about the chairman's positions, or if you want to pass on messages to the chairman, I would invite you to join that Facebook Live. Again, it's going to be tomorrow on Wednesday the 10th at 5 p.m. And if you're not able to make it, it will be posted to his Facebook page afterwards, so you can feel free to view it anytime. If you do want to submit questions ahead of time, please feel free to email them to me. I will, again, put my email in the chat. But for reference, my email address is dfalls, so dfalls@dccouncil.us. My phone number is 312-292-0022. Please excuse the out-of-state area code. I swear I do live in DC, just haven't changed it yet. But again, I think that's the only announcement I have for today. I mostly wanted to be here to introduce myself, to invite you to reach out to our office anytime, and thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much. We appreciate that very much. Any questions for Declan? Awesome. Any community questions? All right. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you coming and doing an introduction.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'll now move on to MPD 1, District Crime and Public Awareness. And Captain Darrow, I saw on here. There he is. Hi, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for having me, as always. I'll just go over the stats real quick. Year to date, we're still looking really good. Your area for the 1D side is down 24% in violent crime. I think this is like the third or fourth year we've run double-digit decreases in violent crime. So really, really good trend there. And on property crime, we're running down as well with an 8% reduction. Where we have seen an increase, and especially in the last month, is the hop-and stolen auto thefts. As you know, that trend kind of started in Mount Vernon Triangle, just north of Chinatown last year, and it has continued throughout the city, hitting the various spots at different times. But in this last month, in the Chinatown area, there were 9 in the last month, which is a significant number. So that pushed us up quite a bit. For example, last year we only had 1 during this month. So on the year, we're up like 127% in the hop and stolen autos. And, you know, we've done various efforts to get the word out for folks to stop leaving their cars running. And these are mostly delivery drivers and folks picking up food and dropping off food items and groceries and such. And yeah, I mean, some of them have had their cars stolen multiple times at this point. So I don't know what else we can do, but you know, whatever you can do to help us get the word out, just don't leave your car running, even for a minute. I'm telling you, just driving around DC, even off duty, I see folks at gas stations and everywhere just leaving their cars running, and I get onto them. You know, I'll pull out my badge and yell at them. But it's, yeah, I don't know why people think it's okay, but please just do not leave your car running, even for a minute, to run in. And these kids, they drive around looking for these cars. It takes them all of 2 seconds. We have it on video. It takes them 2 seconds to hop out of their car, hop into your car, and they're gone. So yeah, and they've done it with kids and dogs in the car. You know, they just don't care. So I think I've said enough on that. I did want to talk about our violent crime. We have had 3 violent crimes in the last month, which again is not a whole lot, but just to talk about those, we had on October 26th, there was an ADW gun, which was just a pointing incident in the 600 block of 8th Street. That was a domestic incident involving a boyfriend and an ex-boyfriend. So a gun was pointed. It's a known suspect. So we'll be trying to close that out. No one hurt in that one. We did have an ADW bike lock, and that's an assault with a dangerous weapon where one subject assaulted another with a bike lock, and that was right in front of the shelter on 5th Street and related to the shelter residents. That was closed with an arrest. Was it? I'll have to double check on that. Actually, I don't think it is, but it's under investigation. Not life-threatening injuries, but it did cause some injuries in that one. And then we had an attempted unarmed carjacking, which in the end, nothing was stolen. It wasn't an armed incident, but someone was assaulted and they attempted to steal their car. That was in the 400 block of 8th Street. That occurred on October 27th at about 10 p.m. So that's it for violent crime. I will mention that we had a shooting at 4th and L Street Northwest, which I think some of you might have heard about. That involved 2 subjects and we were able to get video. The 2 subjects were involved in a verbal altercation. They both pulled out guns. They both shot at each other. One of them was struck in the leg, non-life-threatening injuries. He was placed under arrest. We did recover a gun that we think he was in possession of and utilized in that incident. So that is that incident. And he does have immediate family members that live in that block. So that's the update on that. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Captain Darrow. Really appreciate the update. And it just seems like these are really kind of random acts that are occurring and not necessarily associated with any particular group or anything like that in the area. Is that right?
Well, I would say so. The only kind of consistent thing has been the stolen autos, and it's not specific to your ANC necessarily, you know, but there are specific groups of juveniles that we are familiar with
Right.
that operate throughout the area, and so that's pretty consistent from my standpoint. But other than that, you're right. I mean, in general, we have seen incidents, with the unhoused community, and not just them, but also the community that kind of exists around them. That's been a consistent thread, both as victims and suspects in those incidents. But as far as the violent crime, the shootings and that kind of thing, I know it is just kind of, it seems to be random altercations. There's just a lot of guns on the street right now. I mean, just a historical high for us in the number of guns that are out there, and also people's willingness to use them. And not just the number of guns, but the capability and capacity of the guns, as far as how many bullets they hold and how fast they can fire and that kind of thing. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I know that last month you reported on a club that opened on H Street, Club 202, and I just wanted to follow up on that. I know that Abra did do some engagement there and some enforcement with that site, but have you had any more complaints or challenges with that?
No, and that was actually on one of my talking points as well. I need to follow up some more. They went back out with Abra, our officers did, and Abra allowed them to operate under the existing license for the, I think it's a restaurant. It's a restaurant license.
Right.
It's a shawarma place.
Yeah.
Now, from the advertising and whatnot I've seen, it's pretty obvious to me that they're not intending to operate as a restaurant. So I think there's some additional maybe engagement with Abra needed there. Because I just can't imagine that, given again what their intent appears to be, that they are going to be within the restrictions of a restaurant license.
Restaurant license, yeah. Yes. That was kind of the impression that I got when I was speaking with Abra on that. So we will definitely do a follow-up on that as well.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list as well.
Yeah. Commissioner Minsky, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Awesome. And we have Howard Marks with his hand up. Howard?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Schenkel. I wanted to give a shout out to Captain Duro. As a follow-up to Chief Conte's desire for community policing, we learned that there was a walkthrough of our ANC, including in front of our building, the residents at Gallery Place at the corner of 7th and H Northwest. I arranged for Captain Duro to meet me at the building. He took a tour of where we might have some security vulnerabilities in the building. I introduced him to our building manager, Steve DeSimone. They had a very nice chat. And also I took him up to some areas not normally known to the public, like our 7th floor courtyard, etc. So it was very, very good. And we're very pleased that Captain Duro agreed to spend so much time and attention in our building. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, and thanks for showing me around. Yeah, we did. I should mention that last Wednesday? Gosh, it seems so long ago now. But we did an effort in the 1st district and also in the 3rd district where the chief had outside units come in and just kind of flood certain neighborhoods for the day. It's called Strengthening Community Connections, and so we spent several hours in Chinatown doing outreach with in total we probably had 40 to 50 officers, both from the 1st district and outside units, our investigative units, special operations, etc. Just meeting businesses and residents out on the street and sharing literature. And yeah, like I said, strengthening community connections. That was the goal. So I think it was a great event, and we did make some really good, hopefully it had an impact. It felt good for us. And, part of the reason he was doing that is because we have been challenged with our manpower and spending a lot of time interacting with community members. A lot of our officers are running from call to call all day long. That was one of the chief's initiatives to get more kind of that interaction that we don't have time for so much anymore. So thank you, Mr. Marks.
Awesome. Thank you for that as well. Appreciate that. All right. Any other questions for Captain Dora? Awesome. Thanks so much, Captain. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, you too. And do we have anybody from MPD 2 on the line? Okay. We will move forward there. I'm just doing a quick look. Okay. We would like to now move on to our local events that impact the community. And Stephen, I'm not going to wage on your last name here. Is it Pecorelli? I'm terrible at names. Whoops, I need you to unmute yourself there if you could. Stephen is going to talk about the DC St. Patrick's Parade.
Can you hear me, Commissioner?
Yes, I can hear you there. Yes, I got you.
I've been called that and a lot of other worse names in my lifetime. The name is Petrocelli.
Petrocelli, got it.
Yes. Named after the name. My nickname is the same name as the all-star shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. All my teammates call me Rico.
Awesome.
Okay, Commissioner, I just want to say this will be, if everything is approved, as we hope it and pray it will be, this will be our first parade in 2 years because of the pandemic and other issues. The parade is from 7th Street and Constitution to 17th Street and Constitution. Anywhere from 5,000 plus spectators, local bands, floats, appearances from Military District of Washington, marchers from the Irish dance clubs. Also, we have DC Fire and EMT are participants, U.S. Park Police, MPD, Metro Transit Police, and it goes to 17th and Constitution, and it starts at noon and ends at 2:30 p.m. And we have been actually about 5 to 10 minutes earlier in the past, so in the past couple of years. So there is the parade route that I sent to you. We have we will be celebrating, because we couldn't do it last year, we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary.
That's awesome.
So
I think both your mics are on. I'm going to go ahead and mute one of them. There, is that better?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay, so yes, we are very excited that it'll be our 50th anniversary parade. We have come to know that it is the second largest parade in the district every year. The only parade larger is the Cherry Blossom Parade and Festival. And we are looking forward to reaching out to all of the participants as we can. There will be many floats. Metro Transit Police participate, so do Metropolitan Police, U.S. Park Police, DC Fire and EMT, and everybody you can possibly name. We also have U.S. Park Service provides horses with police officers, and we have a crew from St. John's high school that uses the old pooper scoopers to clean up after them. So we are very much looking forward to this. Again, it is from 12 until 2:30 p.m. The date is Sunday, March 13th. And we are very excited and are very, very hopeful that we can get this going again this year. It has been a tremendous tradition for many, many, many years, and we are very excited to host it again this year. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you so much for providing that update for us. And I too hope you're able to move forward with this and help us return to a sense of normalcy in our city and lives right now, for sure. Commissioner, do you have questions for?
No, thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Schenkel, I forgot to add that the reviewing stand is at 16th and Constitution. So there are, and they go all the way down past the reviewing stand, past 17th and Constitution, and actually terminates at 18th and Constitution. But it is a tremendous event, and we are very thankful for the police officers from U.S. Park and Metropolitan Police that help us, manage the parade while it's in its, in its entirety. So,
terrific. Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for that. Are there any questions? I would like to move that we send a letter of support for DC St. Patrick's Parade on March 13th, 2022.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? 2 of 2 commissioners voting. Terrific. We'll get that off for you. Thank you so much. And definitely good luck with your event. I'm not hearing you. I'm seeing your lips move, but we're not hearing you. Awesome. We will like to move forward. Is Brett Curtis with us this evening?
I am, yes.
Hi, Brett. How are you?
Hi there.
Brett's going to be talking about the 20th annual Thanksgiving Trot for Hunger on November 25th.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you allowing me to present this evening and to share information about our event. I am presenting on behalf of some, so others might eat here in DC. It is our annual Thanksgiving Day Turkey Trot. Now it's in our 20th year. We went virtual last year, but are excited to return in person and virtual this year as well. We will be on Freedom Plaza. The route takes us right up Pennsylvania Avenue and then down onto Independence and D Street on Southeast. So we cover a large territory. And so I wanted to make sure I could answer any questions about the route, the event. But we have gone through the DCRA permitting process, the mayor's task force. We're working very closely with the Department of Health and MPD to ensure adequate social distancing and spacing for everything that is going on at this year's event. And right now our registration numbers are trending incredibly well. We are on track actually to exceed our in-person attendance from 2019. So I think that gives a great pulse of where residents in the district are. And as we look towards Thanksgiving, people are excited for a fun annual tradition. I am excited also to share that we are officially the largest and only DC turkey trot, DC-based turkey trot that happens. And so it supports an incredible organization and incredible work that's happening right here locally every year. So I will kind of pause there and see if there's any specific questions. Otherwise, happy to put my email in the chat and share our website and registration pieces as well.
Could you just remind us the start times and projected timings of the races?
Absolutely, yes. So our race registration and packet pickup starts for those that hadn't previously picked up their packet in advance at 7 a.m. There will be no audible noise or loud speaker sounds until 8 a.m. That's per some of the regulations that we are working with. And then we work with MPD to be very strategic about when we close roads. But our Little Turkey 1 miler trot starts at 8:30. The full 5K starts at 9. And we anticipate the route being clear in most of the roads, except for those right around Freedom Plaza being opened back up by 11:30. So plenty of time for football and beer and hanging out with the family if you wanted to come out in the morning first and have a good time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brett, for being here. Are there any questions for Brett? The ANC actually discussed this at our last meeting and sent a letter of support for this event. So we encourage all of you to come out and support the Trot for Hunger. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much. I put my email and the website in the chat here, but if anybody has any questions about some or the work we're doing, we look forward to continuing to work with the ANC and going forward.
Great. Have a very successful event, and we hope that the numbers continue to go up on registrations and money as well. Terrific. Thank you. I would like to move forward with our alcohol beverage licensing. First up, we have Sip and Wine Spirits, LLC at 1212 New York Avenue Northwest. It's ABRA 119777 for a new retailer's Class A liquor store with a tasting endorsement. Do we have anybody representing the establishment tonight? Hey, hey, Danny, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So tell us what you're planning to do over there.
Just upscale wine store, mostly high-end items, doing mostly delivery for the local community and within DC, shipping it within the country. It's going to be a boutique style store.
It's going to be a what? I'm sorry, sir?
A boutique style store.
Oh, boutique.
Mostly, yes.
Boutique style store. Got you. And your hours of operation you're projecting for 7 days a week from 9:30 from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.?
That is correct.
Got it. And you'll be selling beer, wine, and spirits, but you'll be permitted to, you're asking for a tasting endorsement as well, which I assume allows people to taste the various wines and
that is correct.
Awesome. I have no questions regarding this site. It's in a commercial area, and I don't see any challenges with this. Commissioner, I see you shaking your head.
I agree. I don't have any questions.
Got it. I'd like to move that we. Is there any community questions or concerns? Awesome. I would like to move that we send a letter of support for Sip Wine and Spirits, LLC, for a retailer's Class A liquor store license with a tasting endorsement.
Seconded.
All those in favor? So 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor. We'll get that off to you right away.
Awesome.
When do you plan on opening?
As soon as all the permits and the licensing are done, I'm hoping early March, probably late March, something like that.
Got it. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, I would like to call. Is anybody from Eats Burger 2 with us this evening? They let me just take a peek here a second. I had challenges reaching folks at this location.
Yeah, the individual listed on the agenda is not. I just checked through the participant list and is
Right.
not.
Right. Let me just look at the licensing information. So I like to move that we postpone and table this for our next meeting since the protest deadline is January 3rd. The number that's listed here is the store that's in Capitol Hill or the restaurant that's in Capitol Hill. And when I would call, I would get employees there. So and left a couple messages. So I'd like to have that recalled at that time.
Yeah. Seconded. Was that a motion to postpone it?
Yeah, I guess we should probably officially do that. I'd like to move that we postponed the Eats Burger 2 LLC discussion until our next meeting, until we can contact somebody regarding it.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor? Awesome, thank you. Terrific. Is someone here for Taffer's Tavern? Hey, how are you doing there, Robert? I'd like to, Taffer's Tavern LLC is opening a location at 706th Street Northwest, a new retailer's Class C restaurant license and requesting a stipulated license as well. So can you tell us a little bit about the site? I don't have volume on you. Let's see here. Or connecting audio. It says connecting audio. We'll just give Robert a second there. Robert, can you hear us? I think you have to dial *9 to come on.
It looks like sound connected on your video as well, but it wasn't there before.
I'll let you see if we can get you there. The joys of Zoom. Just wanted to take a quick peek at something.
Can you hear me? Sorry about that.
Yes, we can hear you. Yay.
I think my computer signed off for the day.
I understand.
So what I was gonna say was, how many people have seen Bar Rescue?
Oh yeah.
So John Taffer, this is his restaurant. This is going to be the second of his restaurants. It's a tavern with very nice upscale food, most of it sous vide, and elevated cocktails. So some of the cocktails will be featured, ones that have been featured on the show.
That is awesome.
We also have a concession stand at FedEx Field. So
that is fantastic. And it's at 706th Street?
correct. So it's where Penn Commons used to be. It's right next to Capital One Arena.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Just glancing here. Terrific. And it looks to me like this is you're going to have a requesting a Sidewalk Cafe as well.
Correct.
Okay.
It'll the same existing sidewalk that the previous tenant had used. So I think it's 8 feet, if I'm remembering correctly, off of the building is how far we can have our patio space.
Right. Just looking here at I'm trying to picture this. I don't believe that we have, I don't believe there's any residential buildings that abut or are across from this location.
Not that I recall. It's mostly the arena. There's bar deco across the street from us with a few other.
Right.
Cornerstone is up the road, and I believe they have like a ramen place. So.
Yeah. Got
it's
it.
in a building that has law offices above us.
Yes. So
monumental, the same building.
So you'd be looking to do. I see a picture of it now. You'd be looking to do like the seating on both sides of the doorway there, or just on one side of the doorway?
It would be most likely just the side closer away from the alleyway.
Away from the alleyway. Gotcha. Okay.
The proximity to traffic.
Yeah. And you'd be looking to operate your inside. Your license is from 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. And I'm assuming this is your outside kind of range of hours that you'd be operating.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We're not going to breakfast. That's just in case we decide to do brunch. But the one at Alpharetta is 11 a.m. till midnight, with the exception of Friday, Saturday, and they're until 2 a.m. So.
Right. And the Sidewalk Cafe, since there's no residents around there, open till 12 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, closing at 11 Sunday through Thursday. Thank you for that. That's great. And it looks like the total occupancy is about 300 folks and 14 seats outside.
The CO would be about 290. The seats aren't going to be quite as high as that. So.
Got it. Well, this sounds very exciting. Commissioner Miskey, do you have any questions?
No, the hours look good to me, and that area is definitely a bunch of bars over there, so it sounds good.
Awesome. Any community questions or comments? Awesome. I would like to move that we send a letter of support for Taffer's Tavern Retailers Class C restaurant license for Abra 119792.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? Awesome. And great. So that passed 2-0-0. You're looking to open at when are you looking to open the establishment?
So right now it's going to be around March. It's a fluid date. We are in with Velocity for our permitting right now.
Got it. And you're also requesting a stipulated license to open. Is that right?
Yes.
You are. Okay. Okay. So I would move that I would like to move that we send a letter of support for the stipulated license for Taffer's Tavern as well.
Seconded.
Okay. And all those in favor? Awesome. So 2 of 2. So we'll get both letters off to you, off to Abra, and give you a copy on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. And should we be copying Sean Morris? Should he be our primary contact on that?
Yes, and then myself as well. I can put my email in the chat.
That would be awesome. I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I look
Thank you.
forward to this opening.
Yes, come
Very
see us.
fun. I watch Bar Rescue all the time. Love it. I wouldn't want to be on the other side of Mr. Taffer. but that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. And next, I would like to call TBDC Chinatown LLC, Tom's Watch Bar at 781 7th Street Northwest. This is Abra 119403. And Sedone Johannes from the Vertus Law Firm is with us this evening. There you are, Sedone. Welcome.
Hi, I'm also here with John Prescott, who's the regional operating partner. And let me tell you there he is. Let me tell you a little bit about the application and what we've applied for. So this is located at 781 7th Street Northwest, where Circus used to be. And this is for a Class CR restaurant license. We've applied for interior hours, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. We have no entertainment endorsement and no outside space. So everything is just inside. And in terms of the concept and who we are in terms of Tom's Watch Bar, I will let John tell you a little bit more about the company and about the business and what they plan to bring to the district.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Schenkel and Commissioner Miskey, Mr. Marks, and the residents who are there. I just can't tell you how grateful we are to be coming into the community. We're a brand that is really across the country, but very few locations right now. But we have a very aggressive growth plans heading into next year, including 3 planned locations right now in DC. So I can say I'm a resident of the East. Our company is based out of Denver. I'm an East Coast guy, and I can tell you that I'm just excited for the growth that we have and the type of experience that we're going to be providing a lot of people across the country. You'll notice our hours. What I can say, I understand that there may be some concern from residents with noise and things, but one thing I would tell you about our brand is, we're not a nightclub. We're what I would consider a high-end sports bar experience. Certainly not, not a dive of any kind. We have, as was mentioned, we have no outside seating. We have, unlike a lot of our restaurants across country, we do have outside seating, but not here. We have very specific way of building our restaurants that we use a lot of different materials, and many of them are designed to buffer sound. From a watching and listening experience, it's important for us to do that so that we don't get echoing within the restaurant. So it truly is designed to be a restaurant with brings an experience with sports to the community and to our guests. You'll notice the hours I mentioned, although our license calls for 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., I can say with some pretty good knowledge about our operations that we don't anticipate being open that long. We have the the leeway to be able to do that. But we're also believe in good stewardship of our business, and if there's not a call to be open that late, we don't anticipate it. So I think that probably should bring some comfort to the community too. And I can say that in most of our restaurants like this one, we have a couple of that we close fairly regularly around midnight. So depending on event, part of the business foundation of our business is to be really operating around events. So our typical operating hours would be, although we could be open for lunch, we typically open around 4 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m. And are very event-driven activity. But we're just excited and grateful to be part of the DC community. It's really a exciting thing for us because we have so many signed leases, and the first couple we anticipate opening right around February 1st or so for our Chinatown restaurant, and then later on we'll be opening in the Navy Yard for probably in May, probably in late April or May.
Got it. Terrific.
I would also point out one thing just in terms of the layout and the hours and the capacity as well. This is very similar, substantially similar to what Circa had. Obviously, we've done some renovations, but this license could have been transferred, but it was canceled earlier this year.
Got it. And being a Class C restaurant, your ratio of food to alcohol is set by the city. Is that correct, Sedone? That there's a certain percentage of food versus alcohol?
Yes, absolutely. And we have to file reports quarterly.
Got it. So more food than alcohol in these situations. Unlike a bar, like a tavern license, which would be kind of open.
Correct. Taverns have no restrictions or food requirements, but generally it's it's 40%, but it could also vary depending on capacity. Right. That's generally what it is.
Got it. And when your other businesses, when they're operating, do people typically? I reviewed your website and stuff, and do people typically come there to eat, or do they come there to watch the game and hang out and stuff like that? Tell me about that experience.
I would say there's a balance of that. In season, obviously, it's in our interest to be really efficient with our operations because a lot of people will come in to eat dinner and have a drink before a game. We really will be feeding off Capital One Arena activity quite a bit, and so most of our business in our other restaurants are all typically pregame. That's why I can say, again, it's not assured, but with some certainty that we won't be open that late at night. There will be really no activity. I've been in the market several times now, and I'm visiting again next week, and what I've seen is that area outside of where the public transportation is, there's not a whole lot of activity that would warrant us being open. So to answer your question, though, a little bit more directly, it all varies by location. We tend to build near these venues. So we have a lot of guests who do come in. We hope that our neighbors find us a great place to be able to go dine, relax, watch a game, have a great viewing experience. We also have some technology that will allow our guests to be able to have sound on just the event that they're watching. So that may not even be sound that's in the restaurant, but specific to the TV that they're watching. And so we really want to be that for the community. For Tom's, community immersion is a really important thing for us, community partnership. We're looking forward to really being involved in DC, not just running a business, but also what are we doing to be good neighbors.
Got it. And I guess the question would become with the technology that you described, is there sound from TVs that are broadcast in the space, or is it just like devices that would be table centric?
No, it can be both. So I'll describe the technology as best I can. I'm an operator, not an IT guy, but one thing that we do, we have typically music, and it would be the same kind of volume level that you'd have in a typical restaurant. We're not a nightclub, there's no interest in really not being able to hear a conversation that you're having with someone you're dining with. But we have the technology for someone to have an app on their phone that if they had earbuds, for example, they can point their phone at the television they're watching, and it will broadcast the sound for just that event. So people can enjoy so I'm an unashamed Red Sox and Patriots fan. And so if I wanted to go in, if I wanted to go in and watch my game, I could watch my game with the ability just to hear that volume.
Right, gotcha. I was going to say, Ellie, where's the mute at?
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm just totally kidding.
My dad is also a big Red Sox fan, so
right. It's hard.
I'm from Connecticut.
It's hard to take that blood out of you. And I will say, so Mr. Petroselli was on earlier, and I was going to be like, "Go Rico!"
Go Rico. Yes.
Right.
Definitely. I was from the Boston area as well. I lived there for a number of years, so you get into those areas. Definitely,
yes,
you learn that you love the teams.
Amen.
I did have some concerns from the residents of 777 Gallery Place, and Howard, you sent a letter this morning to me regarding concern with noise, and I'll let you discuss, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Chairman Schenkel. So I have a statement that's been approved by the Condo Board Association at the residence at Gallery Place, 7777 7th Street Northwest, immediately adjacent to the proposed location for Tom's Watch Bar. My name is Howard Marks, and I am a member of the Residents at Gallery Place Condominium Association Board. We are a condominium building with 192 units in the heart of Chinatown and span the entire east side of 7th Street from the G Street alley to 8th Street. For years, we have been besieged by amplified sound generated by street musicians. The problem of excessive noise has degraded our quality of life through the loss of sleep, the inability to concentrate on important tasks by our residents working at home because of COVID, and general health issues. The residents of our building work in sensitive occupations such as healthcare, education, and commercial aviation. Yes, we have airline pilots that live in our building. Therefore, we were concerned when we learned that Tom's Watch Bar was planning to lease the space formerly occupied by Circa. Physically, the proposed location wraps around our building with the potential of loud noise penetrating the walls of our condo building. This is unacceptable to us. A close examination of the official Tom's Watch Bar website alarms us. Quote, our central oversized stadium screen paired with hundreds of screens provides a 360-degree viewing experience, making every seat the best seat in the house. The placement of oversized screens suggests the potential of significant noise infiltration into our condo building, excessive vibrations, or both. The liquor license placard for Tom's Watch Bar says that they want a new classy restaurant license serving American cuisine with a seating capacity of 275, with a total occupancy load of 275. That's a lot. As a former officer of the Caps fan club, I know how full-throated fans can be after Alexander Ovechkin scores a goal. And we hope, of course, he'll be scoring many more goals this season. The proposed hours of 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and extended another hour to 3 a.m. on weekends is a terrible idea. This is totally disruptive to our building and will drive down property values. Let me be perfectly clear. We welcome new economic activity in Chinatown. Empty storefronts like Circa suggest blight and reduce property values for all of us. We urge the ANC to delay endorsing the ABRA application until we meet with the management of Tom's Watch Bar to discuss noise mitigation measures, hours of operation, and crowd control issues. I have some slides or some pictures that I don't know if you could do a share screen, Michael, which
Sure.
I think illustrates the problem that we face. So please.
Just 1 second there.
Do you mind while we wait to put
Sure.
that up, if you all wanted to respond at all before we,
Yeah.
that was a lot of information. And
Yeah,
I think
I would love to.
take
Mr. Marks, if you don't mind, I'll lead off, Sidon. Mr. Marks, first, I'm incredibly grateful that you're raising the concerns. You can't be a good neighbor without knowing how your neighbors feel, right? But I have some things that can help alleviate some of those concerns. One of them would be the 360 viewing experience is actually unique to only LA, Los Angeles. So our Tom's Watch Bar in Los Angeles has a 360 viewing room. We can't do that. You can't retrofit this restaurant to be that way. We'll have actually less TVs than we normally would have, just because of tech limitations. So we acknowledge that that viewing experience can be, energy generating and generate excitement. Although I'm not an Ovechkin fan, I too hope, being now a new neighbor there, that he scores some goals too. He's close to a record, I believe. And so, and then the other thing was, remember, screen size doesn't generate noise. Screen size is not indicative of any kind of noise coming out. So it really is about the sound system we use. And I can tell you, we do a lot to insulate and buffer our sounds, because it enhances the viewing experience to have the sound crisp and clear and not thumping. We're not a nightclub, and I've already shared that we don't have any intentions to stay open till 3 a.m. I don't think we'd be good stewards of our people or our business if we did that. So, never mind the fact that I appreciate you bringing up the fact that you don't want empty storefronts. It's terrible for a community to be that. We're just excited to be emerging from this pandemic in a way that can bring sports and excitement back to a community where it's deserved. And we've hired all of our management team. I've hired already. They're all local DC residents. They're either residents of Maryland and places that closely bordered the city, or Northern Virginia that closely border the city. So we've just hired 12 new managers and providing new opportunity for them, as well as 100 new team members. At least 100 new team members we'll be able to provide employment for. And that's exciting to us. I think that's as important as running a business, is how we're stewarding for the community. So, I'm so grateful that you brought up these points, because it's all the more reason why we're convicted to being great residents there with you.
Well, I definitely appreciate your comments, Mr. Prescott, but we have a proposal. We do not want to protest your license. The deadline is coming up at the end of November. We would prefer that we meet with you and your architect. I understand you've hired a very well-known architect to design the interior space, with our building engineer and our resident manager, and we have a walkthrough, and we could determine at that point, we may have to call an acoustical engineer in to get an independent opinion. And then, if it goes well and we're satisfied that we will not have any disruption to the sleep or to the concentration of the 100 the over probably 300 people that live in our building, you know, we want to be absolutely assured that once this thing is more than just a concept, but actually is applied in that circus space, that it does not degrade the quality of life in our building. And I am so assured from what you said about being good neighbors, you want to work with the community. This is what we want to hear. We're not interested in a confrontation, okay? We're interested in working together, but we are asking the ANC tonight to withhold at this point endorsement of your request until we have set a time and a place where we could meet. And I'll be happy to go offline with you after this presentation.
Thank you, Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. I think we understand the request. Michael, are you on
Yeah.
understand the request?
Yep.
Michael, could you explain, is that ever a standard protocol in endorsement of a letter to have pre-approval, or are there measures after the fact for this kind of mitigation of noise? Have you encountered something like that in the past?
Have I encountered that?
Heard of?
No. Have I heard of? Yes. Those measures and really working to develop an agreement, so to speak, prior to supporting the license. I don't. Yes, that is something that can definitely occur in the situation like this. And that's what these forums are for, to bring community together to express concern. Are there other residents that have concerns?
Can I quickly add, I don't know if anyone who has a hand raised, but in terms of where we are now, I mean, we do have a protest petition deadline of November 29th. We actually, sorry, Commissioner, we don't need a stipulated license, and are not requesting one.
Oh, sorry, gotcha.
And yeah, initially we were going to move forward, but we're not. And I will say that, as you know, John just said, we're happy to have discussions. We're happy to continue these discussions, and we can do that next week. That's fine. But I also sort of want to be clear about your expectations and also what the specific concerns are, and we can do that as we move forward through the process. And I also just want to mention to you, so it's clear, because you did mention capacity, you mentioned hours, and sort of the layout. I just want to make sure that it's understood by your residents that this is the same sort of, this is the capacity that that Circa had. In fact, Circa had a larger capacity. These are the same hours that Circa had. And in fact, they had an entertainment endorsement, and we are not requesting one. So I just want to be clear about those things and make sure that the residents are clear as well.
And Howard, just a question of clarity. Did the residents have problems with Circa in that space, or?
I understand asking for permission to speak is Barbara, who's our vice chairman of our board, and I'd like Barbara to speak at this point, if that's possible.
Sure, please.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I just wanted to say was that I think, Howard, you did reach out to Mr. Prescott, isn't that correct? And you didn't hear back, is that correct?
I reached out to the attorney, and I left a voicemail message. I think several voicemail messages, email messages. I would have preferred that we could have avoided this tonight, but right. It wasn't. There was no response.
Reason, if I can just, so And I appreciate that, Howard. The reason I wanted to raise that was Howard's exactly right. The board wanted this to be worked out. Mr. Prescott, you're saying that you want to be part of the community. I appreciate that, but it isn't very friendly, to not be responsive to a neighbor who borders your wall. So there's that. And also,
To be clear about that, Mr. Marks said in
excuse me,
response.
were you recognized? Excuse me.
I will not go ahead, but we are presenting. But go ahead. My apologies.
So again, we don't want to be hostile, but it isn't very friendly to not get back to us. Now, when Circa was there, of course, it was a different sort of operation, right? It was mostly restaurant kind of place. But because we share that wall, we did have other sort of instances with, water leakage and, other kinds of issues. So because of the proximity, it's really important that we would get along with the new neighbor in that building. So we didn't have noise issues, I don't think so, Howard, right? But we did have other sorts of, infrastructure issues.
We did have noise. There was complaints of noise in the lobby. So that did happen
okay.
At Circa.
Okay. So, and my final point is just that, I know, Michael, you said, oh, is there anyone else from the building that wants to speak? Howard's representing the entire building, and this is of great concern, to all of the people in the building. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Barbara. John, go ahead.
Yeah, and Barbara, with all due respect, and I mean that sincerely, it's presumptuous of you to think that I wouldn't have returned a call or an email or communication. I never received anything from Mr. Marks or any resident there, not once. Not a call, not an email, not a text, not a smoke message, nothing.
Just to clarify that, it was directed to Miss Johannes, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You are.
So even if there had not been communication, you would have thought that a business like yours, which is national in scope and wanting to expand, would know that you would want to reach out to neighbors.
I'll cut this here because the applicant is doing the process from having this placarded, coming to a meeting and discussing the issues at hand. And this is one of the forums that the community has the opportunity to engage with applicants as well. So that's the process that we're moving forward with here. What happened, should have happened, didn't happen. That is unfortunate. However, we're here now, and we don't need to rehash he said, she said, whatever kind of circumstances. It seems to me that there is a consensus that we want to work out some strategies to address, as Mr. Marks' email indicates, addresses. Sorry, I just lost it on my screen. The issues with potential noise from the establishment, potential. Hold on one second. Let me just open this up. Oops. Sorry about this, folks. I have a wonky computer this week for whatever reasons. Howard, it was you were concerned about noise, crowds, and what was your third point?
Yes, Chairman Schenkel, the third point was hours of operation.
Hours of operation. Gotcha. Okay. And I think that it is warranted that we we have the further discussion regarding this prior to moving forward with an approval of the license. With the license, the petition deadline, I believe, is the 29th. Is that right? 26th? Looking here again. Sorry.
It's the 29th.
29th is the 29th. I'm sorry, I wasn't watching my screen. Is the 29th of this. This would, in fact, require us to act at this meeting to move forward with a potential protest. However, I'm thinking that I'm struggling with I guess I would say that we can definitely move forward with a protest at this time, with the understanding that it would be imperative that the residents or representatives of 777 Gallery Place and the applicant make strides to address that quickly in this situation. I think that there's also some limitations in I think it's very challenging to, and I know that Mrs. Yohannes has been working on some other cases with the ANC. It's very challenging to mitigate all noise from a location. However, I think that there can be some discussion about your main points of contention with the noise concern of the residents. I know that there when I looked, I don't believe there was any complaints filed with Circa regarding Circa at that location, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't any complaints, because we found that has been challenging as well. So could we agree that we potentially get together next week and maybe talk about some of these issues? And I think it would be very helpful to get them down on paper to be worked out on all sides.
Well, speaking on behalf of the condominium board and the residents of the residents at Gallery Place, Chairman Schenkel, we certainly could live with that roadmap that you just laid out. We want to resolve this issue. I will put in the chat my contact information. I look forward to hearing from Mr. Prescott and Ms. Yohannes of setting up a time. I would like to do a walkthrough of the Circa space, as well as a walkthrough of the adjacent condominium building with our building engineer and resident manager. And we could point out where there might be some areas that we're concerned about regarding noise and vibrations. And I think I'm very hopeful we can work out the situation regarding hours, for example. We heard that tonight from Mr. Prescott, some flexibility regarding proposed hours, which we're very grateful to hear that. And then, of course, the crowd control issues. What about what goes on outside our building as people try to enter that space? But I'm hopeful, but I think we need to really hone in on noise and vibrations. And so, I will put my contact information in the chat, Mr. Prescott, and I look forward to hearing from you.
And just another question to ask. Do you have similar, I mean, like do you have, or have you had as a building, if you know, challenges with clients in crowds and access?
As far as I know, I've been in the building since 2014, so that's 7 years. We have never had a problem with noise infiltrating from Clyde's. Never.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Mike, I just quickly wanted to note just how we're discussing with each other. I don't really kind of appreciate the tone that was taken with Attorney Johannes, and a lot of us try our best not to interrupt each other, but occasionally, and I think actually often that happens, and I haven't seen that kind of tone taken with anyone else. So I just wanted to say I don't really appreciate that kind of hostility. And I know you all are saying, you know, we're going to be working towards an agreement. So I just wanted to highlight that should definitely be something we're all conscious of moving forward, is how we're talking to each other.
I'm going to turn to the applicant, and is that something that you would agree to do?
In terms of meeting and talking?
I'm sorry, say it again.
You mean in terms of us talking to try to resolve and address concerns? Yes, of course.
Okay.
And if I might,
sure,
I'm
please,
sorry.
John.
I'm sorry, Mr. Schenkel. So, and they're not empty words to say we want to be good neighbors. I just think that we have to be careful because of various issues, whether it be supply chain, construction restraints. My fear is that Mr. Marks or any member of the community would want us to mitigate something that just may not need to be mitigated. And today, in these days, economically, some of those things can be cost prohibitive and unnecessary. And so we just want to be careful. Like, I'd love to meet with you personally, Mr. Marks. I'm not local. As I explained, I live in New Hampshire. So it's not easy for me to just pick a day and be able to, because I already have other business obligations. But I do know I'll be back in town on, I believe it's December 18th. I fly in the afternoon of the 18th. And I'll be there for some new manager orientations on the 19th and 20th. So yes, I would love that opportunity to meet with you. Those days, I know I'm busy from noon to 6, but after 6 p.m., I could be free on either the 19th or the 20th, and I'd love to be able to meet with you. But again, to be able to try to coordinate our general contractor being there might be difficult. Technically, we really can't have anybody even in the building right now, technically. So a walkthrough might not be possible. And that's really from a legal perspective. We can't do that. So I know it takes special clearance for me, and we're the owners. It takes special clearance for me to even get in there. So I apologize for that. And I don't want you to think that we're being obstructive that way. I'd rather be a bridge than a wall. And so, yes, I'd love to talk to you more about it. But I think there are a lot of peripheral considerations you need to give us, including time. We just don't have that kind of time right now. And so I've shared with you when I'll be there. I have your contact information. Thank you for that. I will equally share mine with my cell phone number.
So, Mr. Prescott, so I understand what you said. Did you say December 18th, or did you mean November?
No, November. I apologize. If I said December, I meant November.
November.
Yeah.
Oh, November. That's great. We're ready to meet with you on November 18th at a time of your choosing.
Yeah, but I just need you to know, Mr. Marks, it likely won't be in the building. So I know you want to do a walkthrough, but for various legal reasons, we really couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Well, there's no problem. You could walk through our side of the wall, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
And we have our engineer, who's terrific, as well as our building manager, and we could walk through. That'd be great. I look forward to that, Mr. Prescott.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. I am happy to join that as well to assist with that negotiation if that is helpful with you. It's totally up to you all in that situation. With a petition deadline pending on November 29th, I would like to move that we protest this license because of noise and wanting additional negotiation with the license prior to coming to approve the license. And I would like to also suggest that once we get come to an agreement on that, we will support that license moving forward.
Second.
That was a long.
Yeah. So
sorry.
So I just want to clarify. The idea is we're gonna basically in the interim protest the license, but we won't need to re-vote on a letter of support at the point where an agreement is reached. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And I think that if we can, my concern is the November 29th deadline for this. That's the only reason. And I know the word protest is a terrible word to use in this situation, but it allows us to have the opportunity to continue to negotiate in a process like this.
Right, because that could be withdrawn at any
right,
point,
right.
But the deadline is the last point that we could submit it.
Right, and I would not file the protest until we get closer to that date either. Like I would file it on the 20th.
Just because we don't have another meeting in between.
Right, that's the only reason that I'd be doing this. So I'd move that we protest this license for that reason.
Okay, seconded. And I guess we'll just also get on the record that we would be swapping it out for a letter of support, or not swapping it, but once there's an agreement, we're also voting for a letter of support.
Right. That would be, well, an agreement would constitute our letter of support.
Okay.
For that.
And Mr. Schenkel and Ms. Miskate, if I just might ask, in the event, like I'm going to assume good intent and resolution. However, in the event that we're asked to take mitigating steps that just are not reasonable, what is the process, just process perspective, what does that look like?
Right. I think that we need to come together and really understand the issues of the residents of 777 Gallery Place and determine from your planning, your design perspectives. I'm not an architect, I'm not a designer, I'm not an engineer. If these are going to cause additional issues with the residents. And I think that we could put some steps in an agreement that could talk about if there is noise penetration or vibration or something, that you would work to mitigate those with the residents or something like that. I don't necessarily know with an establishment not operating yet if we would be even able to determine that there was an issue. And I think that we also need to make sure that that we're talking about noise penetration into residences, and not necessarily, I know that Howard, you mentioned the lobby. I want to make sure that we're talking about actually where people live that have noise penetration into those units. So there may be some opportunities to discuss, what people have experienced with Circa or whoever was there before them. I can't remember in that space to do that. But I think that I do believe that this needs to be a sensible approach, and we need to structure something that is in place that can protect the residents and your operation as well as we move forward in this process.
And Michael,
does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would add a thought I had in response.
Zanga. Yes, Zanga. Zango. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I would just add in response to that, I don't envision this to be some like blank slate, the agreement. There's still, say you're concerned that unreasonable things were asked for that we're just not actually addressing the issue and whatnot. If there's not an agreement, again, assuming there's good faith, but this is something we could still revisit. So say,
Yeah.
what, Michael?
Yes.
Sorry. You agree with that? Yeah,
Yes,
right. So it's not like if soundproofing on every wall that maybe isn't actually necessary to do the job that to get the result that everyone would be happy with is asked for, and there's not an agreement, we could still revisit if we want to keep protesting the license. So it's not, I just wanted to clarify that we could always come back to that.
Yeah, and we can revisit this at our next meeting, our December 14th meeting as well.
Right.
And
I think we probably should assume and put it on the agenda that will have some form of update or we'll touch base.
Right. But I do think that you may already be doing some of these mitigation strategies that we don't even know that are in progress already.
Right.
I would agree with that, just based on the type of materials we use to use. But at the end of the day, Mr. Marks, you're going to be with us watching the Capitals in the playoffs next year.
Not only will I be watching with you, we will be celebrating when the Capitals lift the stadium. Thanks to Alexander Ovechkin's record season.
Right. As long as it's not against the Bruins, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I'll be eating. I don't know this sports lingo.
Hey, I'm grateful to everybody here, Ms. Mescal too. I saw your comments. We're excited to be a vibrant new member of the community too. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, and I'm very happy to see the spaces that are empty along 7th Street, having people that are interested in leasing them and moving in and being part of the community. I want to really express that as well. And I appreciate all of us coming together collegially and addressing the concerns that are out there. So I don't know if we took a vote on this, but did you second my motion?
Yeah, I don't think we voted on it. So I'll second the motion.
Okay. And all in favor? Aye. Okay, got it. So we'll hold on a letter of protest, but send it prior to that. Hopefully we'll be able to get things worked out and done.
I will be in contact very soon.
You got it.
Well, thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
So thank you, so
residents.
Much. Thank you.
All right, bye.
And the last item of business we have tonight is related to planning, zoning, environment, and historic preservation. This is related to 719 6th Street Northwest, a brick fundraiser at the German American Heritage Foundation of the USA. Is anybody here from the German American Heritage Foundation? Okay. This is an application that came to us. I'll just project this for us all here. This came to us through historic preservation. And the Chinatown Design Review Committee. So this was an application that was put forth by the United German American Committee of the USA to do a fundraiser. And it would be a fundraiser to replace 100 standard paver stones in front of the building to both between and to the right of 2 stairs that they have. They would be engraved stones, same color as the current ones that are there on the the stones that are on the premises currently. I'll just show a picture of the site for us. This deco bar is over here to the right of this across the alleyway, and they're proposing to do this fundraiser in the area that they have marked here with the orange blocks. And then I'm not even projecting, am I? Oops, hold on. My bad. I will get that up there. I'm just talking away. So the deco bar is over on this side of across the alleyway. They're proposing to install these pavers in this area, which is not a traveling area on the sidewalk. And the actual bricks, I think, is this one of them? No, this is just showing the plans here on where they're planning to do that installation. And the Chinatown design review committee did submit their approach to this. They typically, all items in the Chinatown community incorporate a Chinese symbols under their names. There's no design guidelines for pavers or bricks or personalization of them downtown. They are read and follow the same material that is there. I don't particularly have a problem or challenge with this, as long as they are installed correctly, following DC guidance, because this is in public space, even though that it's not typically a walked area of the sidewalk. I do not want a 7th Street kind of sidewalk appearing where we have all the wobbliness down the street. So, Commissioner Mitski, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it sounds like it has been thought through, and I don't see any issues. Obviously it's hard without literally seeing it, but it looks like
Right.
all the things that we're worried about have been addressed and thought about. So to the best of my ability, without literally seeing it, I think it sounds good.
Any community folks have any comments? Then I would like to propose that we send a letter of support for the brick fundraiser at the German American Heritage Foundation, pending that the bricks are laid, followed to sidewalk standards in the city. And I think that they're also maintained as well.
Seconded.
And all those in favor? All right, terrific. 2 of 2 commissioners voting in favor of that. Terrific. Any other items for discussion this evening? Terrific. Our next meeting will be December 14th at 6 p.m. That information will be up on our website in the next day or two. for folks to be able to register for that meeting. And please do send us any agenda items or areas of concerns that you would like us to discuss over the next few months. We are going to be, I do want to invite Department of DHS of Housing Services to join us to talk about, to provide us with an update on the Pat Handy Legacy Shelter at our next meeting, and I've tried to get them to coordinate around that at this point. But other than that, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Seconded.
Awesome. All those in favor? Woohoo! Thanks, Commissioner. Thanks, everybody, for attending tonight. We appreciate it. It's great seeing you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.